Hi, it's Norman Kochnick here for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick, now called Eyes on Sports. I'm here to give you an update as to the just recently announced squad of the ODI team to play in India. That is the Australian side. Both Glenn Maxwell and Mitchell Marsh have returned to Australian colours for the one-day international series against India next month, which will be in March. Glenn Maxwell, of course, who broke his leg, and Mitch Marsh, who had an ankle injury, have been included in the 16-player squad for the 3 ODI series, which will follow the Qantas Test Series, which is happening now, both the third and fourth tests about to occur, in both indoor and Ahmedabad, respectively. The Victorian Maxwell returned to place last week with games in the Victorian Premier League and, of course, in the Marsh Sheffield Shield for his state of Victoria. And Mitchell Marsh, of course, is expected to play the next 2 Marsh Cup matches for Western Australia before heading to India. Now, the 16-man squad out of interest is the following. You'll see Pat Cummins, of course, as captain, Sean Abbott, Ashton Agar, then we've got Alex Carey, Cameron Green, if fit, of course, Travis Head, Josh Inglis, Marnus Labuschagne, Glenn Maxwell, which is a great inclusion, JHYE Richardson, Steve Smith, Mitchell Starc, of course, Marcus Stoinis, Dave Warner, along with Adam Zampa. So that's the 16-man squad. JHYE Richardson also makes a return, of course, to go with both Maxwell and Mitchell Marsh's return. He returns to the Australian club after having recovered from a hamstring strain, which ruled him out of the BBL finals recently. Chairman of selectors George Bailey, he said, of course, with the World Cup just over 7 months away, these matches in India are an important step in our preparation. Of course it would be, with Glenn Mitchell and JHYE figuring very heavily in the actual frame. So Josh Hazlewood has not been named, of course, in the squad to fully overcome his Achilles injury, needs more time and for potential return to the World Test Championship, which will come up in June 7th to 11th. It'll be great for Josh to be a part of it, but he won't be. So Australia will play in India, in fact in Mumbai, on March 17th, Vizag in March 19th, and Chennai March 22nd. So stay tuned. There's the update on who's in the 16-man squad from Norman Kochnick with Eyes on Cricket and Eyes on Sports. Join me soon. Conclusions.
Well, Glenn, I guess talk us through your recovery. Are you at 100% yet, or is there still a little bit to go before you jump on the plane?
No, there's still a little bit to go. I've been pretty realistic about how my recovery's going over the last little bit. It's been nice to get back on the park the last week, playing a club game for Fitzroy last Saturday, and then to get a 3-dayer in this week for the Shield game was quite nice. And even just looking at the data from the last day of Shield game, started to get back to what a full one-day game looks like. So that time on my feet, that speed back up, it's all heading in the right direction. And I always said I was probably building towards that one-day series. That was in the back of my mind. So now that I'm sort of closer to that, I suppose, workload that I need to be at, I suppose it's about sort of just trying to maintain that, get the pace back up, and then hopefully in a couple of weeks' time I'll be 100%.
Getting that, I guess you're such a dynamic fielder. Was there any sort of doubt in your mind whether you'd be able to sort of get back to what you were? I mean, it was obviously a series.
Yeah, I think the fielding part's actually been okay for a while. I'm sort of doing a little bit of fielding stuff during the Big Bash, and even though it wasn't high intensity running, I felt like the movement and the and just the general skill side of fielding, I felt like that was still intact. I suppose it's just about trying to get the pace up to the ball and having the confidence to, I suppose, go down to the ground and pick it up, and just the confidence to know that my body's going to be able to handle it. And once I sort of get that confidence up, I'll be fine.
What was going through your mind when you were struck on the hand the other day, and what happened there?
Well, initially I just thought, you've got to be kidding me. Surely not. And as I was driving, I was getting driven to the hospital. A lot of pretty average thoughts were going through my mind, but thankfully I think it just pinched a bit of a nerve in my arm. I just had a bit of tingles in a couple of my fingers, and I was a little bit worried about it, but thankfully there was no damage and I was able to carry on.
In terms of the one-day schedule, obviously you've got the one-day stuff and then IPL. Is that sort of your build-up to the World Cup? How does sort of the next 6 months look for you?
Yeah, look, next 6 months are pretty busy, I think. Having not played for 3.5 months, I made a conscious decision to make sure I filled up my calendar with cricket to lead into that World Cup at the back end of the year. And I've got obviously this one-day series, which is going to be a big series, I think, especially with the World Cup in India at the back end of the year. It'll be a good opportunity for us to try and work out some things and get our game plan ready for the back end of the year, as well as having the IPL straight after it, getting used to the Indian conditions again, and spending a lot of time working on my game over there, which will then lead into the Blast, the 100, and then I'm sure there's another series after there that I've forgotten about. But yeah, it's going to be a busy off-season.
Were you surprised to be picked considering what you've been through, or did you know the selectors had faith?
I've been in constant touch with the selectors for a while now, and it probably hasn't happened as fast as I would have liked. I would have probably liked to be playing cricket a little bit earlier, but I think the fact that I knew the timeline for the one-day side, and that was probably the realistic goal, I was able to sort of, I suppose, manipulate my rehab program to sort of, I suppose, fit that and fit the timeline that I was racing against. So meant I was able to sort of put more time and energy and relax a little bit with my rehab.
What have you made of the Aussies Test tour over in India at the moment? And maybe some commentary around it that they haven't been showing a lot of fight and some two disappointing results.
I think they've showed a lot of fight. I think, bar that one session, I thought they were absolutely outstanding. It's bloody difficult over there. It's not an easy place to play. It's so foreign for us, but I feel like we've been, apart from a couple of little moments, we've been in the fight. We've been matching India at different times, and they've shown a lot of fight. It's just, I suppose, sticking it out for just a little bit longer, and I'm sure that's going to be the message from them, just to keep trying to stay up with India and take a hold of those key moments in the game. I think the start of, I think it was day 3, it looked like we were well ahead of the game, and to sort of be ahead of India at any stage in a test match over there is a sign that we're doing the right things. It's just, I suppose, doing them for a little bit longer, and I'm sure the guys will fight back hard in the next test.
It's obviously tough always watching from the sideline and not a lot of cricket over the summer. Do you feel like you're refreshed though, having that time away from it?
Yeah, you'd certainly hope so. That was probably my longest break since, I suppose, the start of COVID, when I had my elbow surgery. I think it was in 2020. So since then, it's been it's been a pretty hectic schedule. And after the World Cup final, after the World Cup last year, I was pretty cooked, and it's never nice to have a break of this magnitude, but it was also not the worst timing, I suppose, to have a bit of time away from the game. And although I did spend most of it in rehab, just doing physio and gym sessions, but it was a nice little refresher. And as I've said before, hopefully this will extend a little bit of time at the back end of my career, and hopefully I can play some good cricket for the rest of my career.
I know you were obviously hoping to get on the India tour as a test capacity. Do you think you would have got there if the incident hadn't happened? Have you been sort of given the nod that was going to happen, or is it sort of you're not concerned about that?
Yeah, it's hard to be concerned about anymore. I think we just to support the guys that are over there now, I think is probably our main priority, especially as someone who's contracted. I think, I think for the guys over there, they just need our full support to keep going.
And Aaron Finch has obviously stepped back from his T20 duties. Have you thought about captaining Australia in the shortest form of the game? Is that an option?
No, I haven't really thought about it. I think what my role has probably always been with that side is to help out. I've been a senior player of that side for a long period of time, and I'm sure whoever gets the job, we've got enough senior players to sort of help out at different times. And I suppose that's the handy thing, I think, of having a lot of experienced players in that side. It probably doesn't matter too much who gets the job, because it's generally been a pretty team effort, I suppose, with that shortest format side.
Talk us through the decision to return the Shield and not the one-day stuff, and whether it was more of an intensity thing than a duration.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I think that intensity, I think it's probably a little bit harder to hide in the field in a one day. I ran around and probably just didn't have that high intensity running under my belt in practice quite yet. So even during the Shield game, the last day I was able to do a few sprints out to the boundary and start to get the workload up. So as I said, I'm making really good strides. I feel like every week is a massive improvement from the one before, and even throughout the Shield game, from where I was on day 1 to day 3, I felt heaps better, and I suppose that just getting that continuous time on feed is something I've been working on. But yeah, I won't play this one dayer on the weekend, and still look to play the next Shield game and keep building up, and hopefully I'm ready 100% by that first one dayer in India.
Are you expecting to have a roll with the ball in this series?
Yeah, I'm gonna probably try and have a bowl on Saturday for Fitzroy Doncaster, and but yeah, I've been getting my workloads up in the nets. I was available to bowl on that day 3 if we needed, but boys did a great job yesterday, so I was there available. I said I had 3 or 4 got overs in me, but wasn't required.
Such a mental game. Do you feel like there's more of a mental barrier you have to break through, particularly after coming back, a few hits to your wrist? Do you think there's more of a mental game at play as well to get back to full confidence?
Yeah, I probably felt that. I think batting during the Shield game, probably mentally batting in that position, I probably wasn't quite there. And in the nets, you can sort of do all the hard work, but once to try and get that mental application back in the game is obviously a different thing. So it's probably something I'm working on over the next few games. Club cricket on Saturday, the next Shield game as well. So try and get a few more hits out there, and but yeah, just try and build up that match intensity.
Your teammate Matt Short probably has reason to be a little bit disappointed with the squad. So have you had a word to him since the squad went out?
No, I only saw the squad about 5 minutes ago. So yeah, he's been outstanding. I think he's in a great run of form, straight from the BBL. Got his first one-day 100 last week, and then to follow it up with a brilliant Shield 100 here, where no one else really batted well on that wicket, and he did it consistently in both innings. So we know the talent that Matt Short's got. Hopefully one day he gets his chance in the green and gold. He's got 3 great attributes with his fielding, bowling, and with his bat. So I'm sure one day we'll see him in Aussie colours.
Mitch, back in the national squad, how's it feeling to be named to go to India?
Very exciting. Yeah, it's obviously been a solid 3 months of rehab to get back to playing, and I'm really looking forward to playing for Western Australia first on Sunday. But always nice to be selected for Australia. I'm looking forward to getting over to India.
And how's the rehab process been? Can you take us through a little bit of what it's been like?
Yeah, it's been quite smooth. Throughout the whole 12 weeks, it's been thoroughly planned out from Cricket Australia and Western Australia. Everything's gone to plan. I've had no setbacks, which is always ideal when you come back from surgery. So yeah, really just looking forward to getting back into it now.
And what's the recovery like? Are you back at full load straight away, or is there a bit of limitation around your bowling loads and those kind of things?
Yeah, I haven't started bowling yet, so I'll progress that over the next few weeks. We're looking over the next 12 months to really sort of play as an all-rounder, but for now it's it's a bit of a luxury to come back and play as a batsman, we'll just see how the bowling goes.
Okay. Do you think there'll be restrictions on the way you move in the field and those kind of things as well, or?
No, absolutely not. I've done the work, and I wouldn't be playing if I was under any sort of restrictions. So the rehab has all gone to plan, and I'm absolutely ready to go.
And in terms of India, you've been there before. What are you expecting out of the tour?
It should be. It's always an exciting place to go and play. All of us have played a lot of cricket there now, and it's. The thing I love about India is every time you go there, you learn something new. You try different foods, and hopefully we can play some really good cricket along the way. And it's a big year for us. It's a World Cup there at the end of the year. It'll be great to play some cricket there and see how the squad's shaping up.
And what do you make of the Test tour so far? Watching on the sidelines.
I'm happy to be home. Put it that way.
Great. I think that's everything from me.
I'll chuck in a couple. Was it a decision to have that surgery and miss the Big Bash and the Australian summer, or for a greater long-term outcome, or could you have played through if you really had to?
Yeah, I think it wasn't a decision that was made lightly, knowing that I was going to miss the Big Bash, especially, and how much I love playing for the Scorchers. But with the view of the long term for my career, Doing it now, it's such a big year with the Ashes. I'm really happy to be a part of that squad. And if not, there's so much other cricket that I can play, and then the World Cup. So I wanted to make sure that I had lots of cricket under my belt before that, and I wasn't coming out of an injury. So the decision was made along with everyone at the WACA and Cricket Australia. It was a joint decision, and I look back now, the Scorchers didn't need me, so that was good. And watching them win the Big Bash was incredible. But it is never nice to miss cricket, especially over the Australian summer. It's what we all love to play for. But it was certainly a joint decision, and now that I'm back, I'm glad that we got it done.
How does it feel? Obviously, you've had a lot of success with WA and the Scorchers, but I guess missing that Big Bash title and then going to India and potentially missing a Marsh Cup and a Shield.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, good question, mate. I think we sort of get used to missing stuff for Western Australia. We've got a squad mentality, and I think if you saw the way that I ran out in the ground for the Scorchers when they won, I felt like I played, and that's the sort of culture that we've bred. We want guys playing for Australia, we want to produce Australian cricketers, and the more guys we have up there, the greater it is for our cricket. But we've sort of got used to missing out on those things, and unfortunately this year, if the guys make the Shield final, I'll be watching again, but I'll be cheering just as loud.
You've been a genuine all-rounder all your career. How great is it that you're at a point now where you're being selected for national sides as a bat?
Yeah, I certainly think in the white ball format that's the case. And I'm confident in myself to play as a batsman, but I think I've always loved playing as an all-rounder. Bowling allows me to be in the game at all times, and also when you feel really a part of a squad, we know how important it is to have all-rounders in your squad. Variation in your team, and allows you to play an extra spinner or an extra batsman with different conditions. So I'll continue to be an all-rounder for as long as I possibly can, but it's certainly nice having the luxury to be able to play as a batsman.
With the injury history, is there a point at which you decide you're going to tweak the way you bowl and go at lower speeds and those kind of things, or are you not there yet?
I think it's more just what kind of cricket you play, how long you play red ball cricket for, and it's obviously a lot more taxing on the body. But for now, all formats is definitely on the cards for me, and I still think at 31, I got this surgery to prolong my career as an all-rounder, and I've got a lot of cricket left in my body. Nothing like that's on the cards yet for me.
From memory, last time you played here for the Scorchers, it was a very successful night for yourself personally and for the team. Are you thinking you're going to just be able to slot back into that format there on Sunday?
I do. Hobart is my favourite away trip. I love the food. I love being in this city. It's such a good city, and I've had a lot of success here with Western Australia and Australia. So I'm looking forward to getting out there, and then hopefully we can finish our season with a win before the final.
One last one from me is there's been a fair bit of chat about having time to prepare in the conditions in India. Would you know if you'll get much of a chance for that when you go over there?
We've got about a week over there as a one-day unit, so we'll meet up with the test squad at the end of the last test, and we'll prepare as a group for the week. And I think, generally speaking, one day we gets over there fairly flat. They're all high-scoring affairs, so I'll be surprised if we get anything different from there, and all the guys will feel extremely well prepared. We've all played so much cricket, apart from me, but everyone's played so much cricket before this tour, so they'll be ready to go.